My name is Josh Miller. I own Riverstone Kennels, and I've been training gun dogs for more than 16 years. I have field trialed, I've hunt tested, but at the end of the day, I'm a duck hunter. You might find that the duck in our Duck Dogs podcast is spelled uniquely. The UK stands for my British Labs. I love my British Labs. I love what they offer me, both as a part of my family and the high motor in the field. As you're going to find, I have some pretty special dogs. Follow along in our podcast series here as we talk about both in the field hunting and in the field training situations that will hopefully help you progress with your dog at home.
Welcome back to another episode of Duck Dogs, everybody. I am Josh Miller, and we are brought to you today on behalf of Eukanuba. Eukanuba is our premium sponsor. We feed Eukanuba Premium Performance Sport 3020 here at the kennel and here for my personal dogs. And I absolutely love that food, so go check it out if you're looking for a high-quality premium food to put your four-legged hunting partner on. Eukanuba Premium Performance Sport 3020. Also, thank you to Lucky Duck. Lucky Duck is the 5-star crash test rated kennel. Yes, crash test rated. 5 stars, both in the large and in the intermediate sizes. So no matter which size of kennel you need, you know that your dog is traveling as safely as they possibly can. So go check them out, www.luckyduck.com. Also, thank you to Gun Dog Supply. Gun Dog Supply is your one-stop shop for all of your hunting and training needs. So be sure to go get your equipment early this year, just in case supplies are tough to come by like they were last year. So www.gundogsupply.com. Also, thank you to Sitka Gear. Sitka Gear is by far, in my opinion, the best clothing both in hunting and everyday use. So go check them out, www.sitkagear.com. I hope everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend. We did. I know we spent a lot of family time. That's one of the things I love so much about these long weekends is it tends to be our family weekends, and so I really love that. Got to spend some time out on the lake. The dogs got to come out on the pontoon. We really enjoyed that. But I would like to give a shout out to Sitka Gear. And I am incredibly proud in general to be a part of this team as an official Sitka ambassador. But what they did on Memorial Day, I thought was outstanding. And they shut the sales portion of their site off for the day. Now, you may recognize, and let me further explain, so it doesn't sound like they just shut off sales for the day. They shut off sales and directed everybody to Fields of Honor, which was really just to promote the Memorial Day and the true reason for the day and the sacrifice that these great men and women have made for us so that we can enjoy the barbecue, the lake, the freedoms that we have. And it was pretty powerful, to me. And so when I first heard that they were doing that, and so they were shutting down the sales for the site, they were redirecting everybody, to organizations, like this. Think about how impactful that is, for a big company to shut down sales for a day. I mean, that's a big deal. And I felt like that was just a huge character showing side of things for that business. And it was just really neat. You can dig more into it on their social media platforms. They have more details of what they were doing, why they were doing it. But very proud of that. And I've heard from numerous people, how impressed they were by that. And so it was definitely noticed at the consumer level. And so one more shout out to Sitka because just stuff like that makes me proud, to be a part of such a great organization. So, anyway, as we're moving through this, if you have not done it yet, make sure you go to Retriever Roadmap. Retriever Roadmap. It took myself years to build this online training program, and I gave you guys a discount code, DuckDogs, DUK, DOGS. Use that at checkout. You get $100 off that initiation fee, which is normally $199. Knock $100 off that, and then it's just broken down into very small monthly payments. You can do, I think it was something like a year and a half. You can have that program for what it would cost for a dog to come to me for training for 1 week. So broken down. It's a great program. I'm incredibly proud of it. But you only have, okay, I'm going to give you a little secret. Technically, that code is supposed to expire June 1st. But in talking to Brett, it was actually made through June 3rd. So I know we said June 1st, but you actually have until Friday. So depending on when you're listening to this, you have until Friday. Make sure to go take advantage of that. I don't see us giving another discount here, at least in the immediate future, because it is just, it's going really well. But I just wanted to give something back to all the people, all of you out there that listen to me on a regular basis. And there are so many things that I talk about here, whether it's 5-point, whether it's the train retrieve, whether it's the hunt whistle. I'll go into that here actually in this episode. So many great things in there. I really think that it's going to help you with your dog. And don't wait until September 1st to start training. Get on this now. Everything's a process. It will walk you through it. It's a great program. Plus the community, the community has been fantastic. So go check it out. www.retrieverroadmap.com. Use the code word DUKDOGS, DUKDOGS, and that will expire midnight on June 3rd. So you will not be able to use it after that. DUKDOGS, all one word. Use that checkout and go get that. And here's what's cool about that. I am not a big company. When I say I'm giving you $100 off, that's literally $100 I'm taking out of my pocket. So hopefully I've had so many people appreciate that. That's what I love so much about this community and this audience that we have right here is you guys get that. You get that I'm not major, corporation that, so many thank you notes and so many, people that identify that right there. Thank you to everyone that has not only taken advantage of it, but thank you to everyone that's reached out, to me for that. Cause it truly means a lot to me. So thank you for that, but, go check it out. So I have a couple things I want to talk about today. One of them being that hunt whistle. I want to talk through kind of what that is, why that is. I know I've talked about it a little bit in the past, but I want to dig a little deeper into it and why it is important. And then I want to talk to you about the training segment for Retriever Roadmap that we filmed based on this actual technique here, because it was probably, in my opinion, the coolest segment that we have filmed to date. I mean, it was so cool. The dog did everything right. There's just so much to it. So I want to talk about that. And then I also want to talk about a couple things that I think will help with maybe your process here, this summer as you kind of go through your training, go through, the process itself. And I think this is a really good thing. There are 2 points here I want to touch on. I'll tell you a little bit of a personal story of why I kind of came to this. But really, really good stuff. So I want to dig into that a little bit as well. But first let's talk about the hunt whistle, because I've had a number of people in the episode. Gosh, I cannot even remember. I can't remember what episode we're even on. I think we're in the 70s or something like that. And it's neat when so much of it kind of builds up to where we have so much content. But on the other hand, it's a little frustrating because all the time I'll get messages like, hey, where can I find information on this? I'm like, gosh, I know I talked about it. I just can't tell you what episode or where in that episode it was. But I know I've talked about the hunt whistle, but there's a lot of you that might not have caught that episode. So let's go over here. So what is the hunt whistle and why is it applicable? And maybe, we should go over even where I picked it up. So one of the things that I really took from overseas was how they handle different than we handle. Now, I think there are some things that I've taken and I'm like, hey, that really applies to us. And then I think that there's a lot that quite frankly doesn't apply to us, you know? So, yeah, I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen, you know, the what's considered the British style of sending, right? So if the dog's on the left-hand side, instead of using your left hand, it would be to kind of move your body, use your right hand, so your opposite hand, and kind of extend that way out, okay? Personally, I don't think that really applies much for here. The reason that can apply, I think, a little easier overseas is that a lot of the time, the dog handlers, they're not handling a gun. So they're walking with the hunt, they're handling the dog, but they don't have the gun to juggle. So my thing is, if you have a gun in your hand, it is much less awkward and quite frankly safer to use that left hand, assuming your dog's on your left-hand side, that left hand right down, hold your gun in your right hand, right? Rather than holding your gun in your left hand above the dog, especially depending on where that barrel is, right? And then swing your body all the way over. There's just a lot going on there. And I guess I'll be quite frank on this. I just don't see the reason for it, right? So like I can kind of get how the thought process of, hey, extending my hand, you know, way out in front of the dog. I mean, that kind of gives like more barrel sight, if you will, like looking down the long barrel of a shotgun versus a short barrel of a handgun. More barrel means more guidance, which means more accuracy, right? Well, not with the dog. I don't believe so. I mean, if you've done your lining drills and your dog understands to take a straight line and your dog is incredibly obedient and your dog is in tune with you, I mean, a lot of times my hand is never even out in front of their snout. A lot of times they're going, I can send them just off being in heel, right? So I can heel a hair to the left or a hair to the right, line them up and just say back. I just don't see the reason for it. And so some of that stuff, I just don't feel like has applied, you know, for here. Although like I said, I do understand where overseas, like it's different. They're handling differently. If you're not handling a firearm, okay, I could see that. But one of the things I really did like a lot was the hunt whistle. And so the hunt whistle, what the hunt whistle is, for those of you that are unfamiliar, is when you get the dog in the area of the fall and you give them the hunt whistle to hunt in that area. Now, if you are looking to run hunt tests, if you're looking to run field trials, this will not apply to you because you will likely get disqualified doing this. Actually, I know you will, or fail depending on you know what you're running. But it's something that for hunting, I think it is incredibly useful. So let's first go over what it is. When you get your dog in the area, you know, just like you're running a blind retrieve, right? So the dog's trying to tweet, maybe give a back cast, tweet, give a right over cast, tweet. Put yourself in a hunting first. Okay, let's first put yourself in a training situation. Training situation, you know right where that is, right? Right where the retrieve is. You probably even have it marked. You know right where you're going. Same thing in a test, right? You know right where you're going. You have it marked. I know right where I'm running to. You don't have that luxury most of the time when you're hunting. If there's a rain out 5, 6, 7, 8 birds, like you probably aren't marking any or all of them. I shouldn't say any of them, all of them. So you pick up your few, your buddy on the right hand side is like, hey, I got 2 down over here. You go over with your dog, go pick them up. And you're like, all right, where are they? And they're like, well, yeah, I think one's kind of out in that thick stuff, and then I think one landed over. Like he doesn't know. Like he knows the general area, but he doesn't know where that bird is. Not to mention, are they crippled? Are they running? Are they swimming? What are they doing? Right? You don't always know. And so if you have your dog, what we like to call on a joystick, right? If you want to have that dog like, tweet back, tweet right, tweet left, tweet back, tweet right, like that's great. It's impressive. Training is at a high level. But in a hunting situation, what happens when you get to that area that your buddy says, hey, I know it's in this area, or you, like, I feel like I mark birds really well, but all the time I'm like, gosh, like, I think he's in the right area. So what happens when you get your dog there and you go tweet and your dog looks at you and goes, all right, mom, all right, dad, like, where to next? And you're sitting there like, I don't know. Like, I think you're in the area. Okay. This is where the hunt whistle comes in. So what that hunt whistle does is it tells the dog to hunt in that area. It doesn't mean go off the rails. It doesn't mean run around like crazy. It means hunt in that area. And if you're unsuccessful, I can tweet and give you a cast somewhere else and then put you back in that hunt whistle. So how we do this is, for the full thing, you're going to have to go to Retriever Roadmap and see it. But how we really do this is we start with verbal cues. And we go, right there, right there. It's kind of that cue, right there, right there, right there. And the reason I like to say right there is because with my whistle, I can mimic that. Right there, right there. It's hard to whistle into the mic, so I'm trying not to blare your ears out. Right there, you can really mimic that. And it doesn't sound like anything else, right? So like, we have a one whistle tweet is sit. We have tweet, 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 for that recall. Tweet, 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 tweet. It doesn't sound like anything else, right? So it's very different. It's unique. It's easily understood by the dogs. But when I get a dog that's out there, I think he's in the area, I can stop him and go tweet, tweet. Just like how we start this, right there. All of a sudden it's hunt in that area. And it is incredible how often these dogs, you can tell, reading the body language, they get on the scent, they go, 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 and they pick this bird up, not honestly anywhere close to where that fall area was, because that bird was crippled and either running or swimming or trying to get away, right? So it's an incredibly valuable tool in picking birds up as effectively as possible. But what I loved about what we did when we filmed it, and this is where having the right person in Brett, you guys have heard Brett come on here a couple times, and he is just so gifted with his videography skills and that he can get something in the first take. It's so important when, especially through Retriever Roadmap, when we're trying to teach this is how you do something, because we're doing this more times than not with dogs that have never done this before. So getting it on the first shot means you get the dog's actual emotion. You get to literally watch those wheels turn in this dog's head and go, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? How do I become successful? And you watch that process. Why that's valuable is then you can go home and you can apply it. Yeah, it might not be exactly the same, may not look the same, might be different, but you understand it. If you watch a dog that has already done it and is seasoned at it and is proficient at it, you are not going to see that same process. And I think especially if you're not a dog trainer, which I suspect most of you aren't, you don't see this every single day with all these dogs, right? So watching a young dog, watching a new dog go through it, it is so valuable for you to be able to go home and have at least a layer of expectation on what you should be seeing. And the videographer in how they capture this is hugely important, wildly important, because I think I've talked about in the past here where there's way too often that I have had people, well, shoot, I think I had at least two off the top of my head, videographers come into, film Retriever Roadmap that didn't work out because they're videographers and they're great at what they do, but they video people. And so when they don't know what something should look like, it's okay. Take one. Oh, okay. I see what this is supposed to be. Do it again. Okay, that was a little better. Now I like the light here, like we can see here. Okay, take 3, take 4, take 5. You don't get that opportunity with the dogs, at least not dogs that are learning. So having him involved in this was wildly important, and it made the difference. But what happened with this hunt whistle is you watched this dog go, I have no idea what you're asking me. I have no idea what you're asking me. And then he started to get it, and his eyes kind of going back and forth, back and forth. And so let me kind of paint the picture of what we do. I'm giving you a little bit of the milk for free here. What I like to do when I start this process is I take a dog and I set them down, and I will then bring out rewind. I bring out tennis balls first. So no dog's away, dog's in the house, dog's in the kennel, dog's nowhere to be seen. I bring out tennis balls and I put them in a circle area, not real tight, but big enough. So probably a diameter of where that dog's gonna be sitting, probably a 5-foot radius, I'd say, from where the dog's gonna be sitting, so a 10-foot diameter. And I set them in that circle because, one, tennis balls are easy to hide. Two, I want there to be a bunch of opportunity, so wherever this dog goes, he's going to go be successful, and that will help him understand what this new whistle, what this new command is. So I set my tennis balls in a circle. I go get the dog. I bring them back, set them down, go tweet. So, just like we do casting, tweet, and then I give a cast, well, tweet, and he looks at me, and I go, right there, and I use this motion with my hand. Again, if you go to Retriever Roadmap, you'll see this whole thing. But right there, and I use this motion with my hand. And you can tell the dog is like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, I have why are you speaking Spanish? I have no idea what you're saying. And just keep going, right there. And I have no idea. I think in that clip that we shot, it might have been anywhere from a 7 to 10 minute clip. And majority of that is just the dog sitting there going, right there. I'm saying right there. And the dog's just looking at me like, what are you doing? But all of a sudden his nose kind of turns. And you can see his eyes go, and he kind of looks back at me, and then he looks back and he sniffs. Well, all of a sudden he starts going, oh my gosh, there's a prize here. And he digs down, picks up a tennis ball, and I praise him like crazy, right? Putting him back in the middle of the circle. Again, why there's many balls around here? Because I can put them right back, let him build off that success. Good, tweet, right there. And you can tell this time he's like, oh, I think I know what you're asking me. Okay. Boom, picks up another one. And it's just, it is an incredible thing to watch the eyes, watch the ears, watch the nose, watch the body of this dog. This little dog's named Blaze, and Blaze is he's a Brock puppy. He's a great little dog. Just an absolute pleasure to watch this dog and the light bulb go off. And so I think this is something that you can take into no matter what level of training you're doing. This hunt whistle is a neat thing, and I think it's great for everybody to know what it is and why we use it, and when not to use it. This is not a test or trial thing. Like, at least not here in the States. Like, you're not going to pass with it. Most of the time, what we're told when we're at a test is you handle the dog to the post, right? So they usually have like a little marker or a flag, to the flag. A little marker saying, for your visual saying, hey, this is where this blind is. And then you handle the dog right to it. We have been told that we don't, or a judge does not want us to see us casting a dog downwind and then the dog catching scent and coming back into it. I get it. Like, you're a hunter and you hear that and you're like, wasn't that what a dog's supposed to do? Like, as a handler, wouldn't you want to err on that side? But you have to understand that for them, they're looking for control. They're looking for that ultimate control. And so, that to them doesn't show the ultimate control. For a hunting dog is different, but this is where this hunt whistle comes into play. For a hunting dog, it is different. You don't always have that, like we said, you don't have the advantageous situation, know exactly where every bird is. You need to be able to let the dog have that natural ability come out. The hunt whistle is a great way to do it, but you can also take this into, like I was saying, into more aspects of your life with many different, avenues with, or not of your life, I guess, more training is, watching and appreciating the dog learning. Sometimes we take that for granted. Sometimes we want to move so fast that it's not easy to appreciate that. But when you can sit there and you can be like, oh my gosh, I watched that light bulb go off between his ears. I watched it happen. It's really, really a unique thing. But if you have Retriever Roadmap, you need to go watch that segment because it is such a cool segment. And if you don't know, go dig into the hunt whistle. I really think so many of you would love that whistle. And and when I say hunt whistle, I'm not using a different whistle. It's just the way that I give that command. So go check it out. I think it'd be a neat thing for that a lot of you will like. Now I want to get into I want to dig into maybe a little more personal, but I think this is something neat that would probably resonate with a lot of people out there. So let me give you a background. When I say we, Whitney, my wife, and we have recently started going to see a new financial advisor. I don't know about you guys, but like I just struggled finding a great financial advisor. I think there's a lot of them out there. I had not met one that I worked with yet that I felt like actually cared about me or what I was doing or what I wanted to, where I wanted to go. And so I just quite honestly got frustrated with it. I was like, I'm just kind of over it. And through some friends of ours, they were like, hey, you got to go see, I won't use her name, but you got to go see her. She's great. She's awesome. She'll definitely, get to know you and understand, what you're wanting. I was like, all right, we need to do this, right? Like, we're self-employed. We need to make sure that, I don't have to work until I'm 94 years old, like we need to do something. So, went and saw this lady, and I would categorize her more as a life coach even than a financial advisor. She took so much time getting to know our background, who we are, where we came from, how did the business start? Where's the business today? How did you get there? What decisions led you to here? I mean, I think we've had 3 or 4 meetings with her now, and each one of them has been 2-3 hours long. I mean, it's really, really in depth, and I really like her a lot. But there were a couple things that she had asked me in our last appointment that I felt like I would share with you because I think this really relates to your training. And I think again, if you've listened to this for any amount of time, you know that I'm a big mindset person. I'm a big mental approach person. And I think these couple things, these were challenges that made me think. And so I want to pass it on to you because maybe it'll help you as well. But the first one was, she was asking, Whitney and I about, just, some different milestones that we've hit, whether it be personally or business or whatnot. And, she said, okay, she's like, how did you celebrate those wins? How did you celebrate those wins? And Whitney and I looked at each other and were like, guess we didn't. Okay. And she goes, you guys need to be doing that. You need to be celebrating when you hit these milestones. You need to be celebrating when she's not saying you need to go on a Jamaican cruise every time you get another $100 in the bank account. But when you are striving for something and you get there, it's some people are great at this, some people are not. I am not. And I learned this after actively looking at it over this last week. I'm really, really bad at celebrating wins because I am a go, go, go type person. We accomplish something, great. What's next? Great. Let's keep going. Great. Let's keep progressing. Now let's hit the next milestone. Now let's keep going. It's for someone that is very, I think, competitiveness is a big part of this, right? Like, when you're competitive, you're looking for where is that next win, right? Like, that's great. We won this one. Where's the next one? And it kind of hit me through the training process because, I think there's so many of us that are out there that want to have a dog that does blank. Run a blind retrieve, deliver to hand, sit at the soccer game and not be a nuisance. Right? Walk off heel or off lead at heel. Like, those are big milestones for people. But how often do you actually celebrate them? How often, and when I say celebrate, like, just think about yourself. Like, how often do you acknowledge hey, I did that. I worked my tail off and we did that. Like, that is a big deal. And when I say, fall in love with the process, initially, I guess it probably wasn't. No, I know it wasn't because I haven't really even thought about it. It wasn't what I meant, right? Fall in love with the process to me was, this is never over, okay? You don't hit a point and this journey's done. You don't, hit the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, right? Like, that's great. You hit your accomplishments, and then you're going to have to retweak and retune and, keep going and maintain and, knock the rust off. And, it's a process. But the more I think of it, the more I think about celebrating those wins are important, because otherwise this process just turns into this like revolving door. Right? And by the time you swing around and make that full rotation on that revolving door, you forget about the 5 steps, prior to that you did make that big success, because now you're on the back hill swing again. I mean, this is big, and I've been really digging into this, and I'm looking at my employees going, how do I make this a big win? Like, you just did something big. Like, how do I make sure you know it, so that tomorrow isn't just the same day as today as it was the same day yesterday? I come back in, there's still dogs to train. I come back in, I'm going to have the same conversation with 2 more people that I had with 5 other people yesterday of, here's my dog, here's how old they are, here's what I want to do. Okay, you can get in an absolute rut if you do not celebrate your wins. And that is something that I'm going to actively work on getting better at. It's hard because I do feel like, personally, that I am not an overly selfish person. I don't like, me. That's why I really struggle getting into social media, because I just felt like social media was a look at me thing. And as competitive as I am, I'm also not the one to sit here and try to bang my own drum. But when you look at the celebrating the win aspect of things, I get it. You talk about mindset, you talk about motivation, you want to talk about lift, you want to talk about happiness, that's it. Make sure you're celebrating your wins. If you have your goals written out, like I've challenged so many of you to do, write your goals down. When you hit a point, you need to, at least for yourself, celebrate that win, because it is a milestone and it took work to get there. Appreciate it, celebrate it, and then build off of it. I think that's a huge, huge deal. The other thing that she had said is, again, this is part of getting to know, which I'm just continuing to be so impressed with this lady, because she's so good at digging into like who you are. And what she's doing is she's trying to find who you are, so she can best advise you on which route she thinks is best for you. And I love that aspect of it. And through the course of getting to know me, a lot of how you guys have probably gotten to know me is I'm very competitive. I want to be the best in everything. I'm push. I'm go. Today, I got up at 3:40 today because I just had a lot to do. And I promise you, I've been working my tail off ever since. I've been go. And, tomorrow's probably going to be the same, And she asked me something that was really interesting. And, of course, she's talking in regards to finances. Like, she's like, okay, well, like, what do you want to retire with? Or where do you, like, I don't know any of this stuff, right? So I'm like, I don't know. Okay, we have the kennel business, we have the breeding business, we have duck dogs, we have retriever roadmap, we have, we're building these businesses, right? And she stopped and she goes, all right, Josh, question for you. When are you going to be satisfied? Like, is it an achievement? Is it a dollar amount? Is it like, what is it? Like, what is going to make you satisfied that you're like, all right, I'm ready to retire? I have no freaking idea. Not a clue. So her challenge there was, she's like, I think it's something that you need to think about and you need to have in the forefront of your mind. Otherwise, you're going to be one of these people that you will never be satisfied. And you could have all the money in the world, you could have all the things in the world, you could have all this stuff, but you are not going to be happy. You're not going to be happy because you don't know what it is that you're striving for. And like, she's understood now that I'm extremely competitive. She's like, guess what, Josh? You are not going to be the best at everything. You're not. My initial, response is like, huh, okay, watch me. But she's right. Right? So, like, when? So when are you going to be satisfied? This is an interesting thing to think about as it relates to your dogs. When are you going to be satisfied? I have had numerous clients that bring their dog in that, they go through puppy and they go through bird and gun, and they want a completely finished gun dog. Completely finished, running blinds, whistles at casting, the whole 9 yards. But the dog is not the right dog for it. Okay? So, if he doesn't have the drive, doesn't have the intelligence, doesn't have the capability, like, when are you going to be satisfied? If you don't have those things, you can continue to beat your head against the wall. You will continue to be frustrated with that dog. You will continue to feel like you're falling short. You'll continue to become frustrated, and your relationship will likely never be that. But if you're like, well, look, this dog isn't meant to be that, so I'm going to take this dog to the pheasant farm, a couple times a year. And guess what? He's great at flushing pheasants. He's great at retrieving a hand. He's great with all that stuff. This is his game. Now, I know that's easier said than done from someone in my position because I have many dogs, and a lot of you out there have one dog, maybe two dogs. And so the thought process of a dog not making it is a very frustrating one to come by. But there's a reason that not every dog is a master hunter. There's a reason that every dog's not a hunter retriever champion. There's a reason that every dog is not running field trials. There's a reason that all dogs aren't special, that they are not elite. Just like people. So, in a situation like that, would you be willing to be satisfied? Because, just because Michael Jordan as a kid does not mean that he's going to be the next best basketball player. That'd be a great thing. I should look into that. Does Michael Jordan have a kid? I think for sure he has a daughter. I don't know if he has a son. But to my knowledge, they're not basketball players today. So, it's an interesting thought. I know no one here likes to think about not reaching their goals. I don't like to think about not reaching my goals. But I think it's an interesting thing to think about because, what makes you happy? I recently had a client that told me that if the dog doesn't make it all the way through being a completely finished advanced dog that is as good as my dogs, that he's going to be upset about it. It's like, well, start being upset, man, because like you've now put this ultimatum on yourself. And I asked him, I said, so you're going to get rid of the dog if they don't make it to there? Well, no. Okay, so what if the dog doesn't make it there? Well, she better. It's like, I don't know how to win with that. And that's where I think the challenge of your mindset is interesting. Okay, so when are you going to be satisfied? If I wouldn't have been satisfied not making it to the MLB, I'd be a pretty miserable person right now because guess what? Every year that goes by is another year I didn't make it to the MLB, and guess what? At this point, I'm never going to play Major League Baseball. But I'm satisfied with that. I had a great career. I played with some great people, had some great coaches, had some great moments, had stuff that will live on in my life forever. I am satisfied with that. It's really an interesting thought. I'm really, really enjoying this this financial advisor. And what's neat about it is that, like I said, I think she's more of a life coach than anything because of how she challenges you to think. This is a key moment, a prime example of surrounding yourself with people that are better than you are in areas that you are weak. Like, I needed help here, and she has been really, really great. So this is no different than finding the right, the right trainer, the right program, the right network, the right dog, the right breeder, the right, it all leads to great things. So think about it. Celebrate your wins. Check into that hunt whistle and go. If you haven't done it, it is in your benefit. Go to retrieverroadmap.com. Use the Duck Dogs code DUKDOGS, no spaces, and get that $100 off. I just think it's a great program. It's a great tool, and so much of what we talk about, you get to literally get walked through it, through that program. So go check it out. I hope everyone has a great, great week, and we'll talk to you soon. I'm actually on my way to Bozeman to go give a seminar for Sitka this weekend. So if you're in Bozeman, if you're in the Montana area, go to Bozeman on the 4th. Go check out the seminar. I'll be out there. I think I'm going to bring Brock and Solo, and so you'll get to meet those guys, and we'll talk dogs. Hope everyone has a great, great week, and we'll talk with you soon.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Leave us a review on iTunes, and a special thank you to Yukonuba, because without them, we couldn't do what we do here, bringing this information to you.